Welcome to Black History Matters 2024. This is the fourth installment of an educational series produced by the National Abolition Hall of Fame and Museum. This year, these short educational videos are meant to provide an introduction to topics important to our understanding of Black American history, but also the larger history of the African diaspora across the Americas and the world. I'm pleased to welcome you to today's episode, A New Beginning, Early African Communities in the United States. So far in this series, we've discussed the African continent and the Middle Passage, which brought millions of Africans to the Americas. While it is easy to think that upon arrival to the Americas, Africans merely assimilated to the local culture, this is not the case. Many African cultures survived for a very long time, including to the modern day, and became well known amongst Americans. In this video, we will look at three such examples. The Gullah Geechee community, primarily located in the coastal regions of South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida, traces its lineage to enslaved Africans brought to the United States during the transatlantic slave trade. Despite the harsh conditions of slavery, the Gullah Geechee people maintained strong ties to their African roots through language, cuisine, music, and spiritual practices. Their distinct Gullah language, a blend of English and the West African languages such as Gola and Mende, is a linguistic link to their African ancestors. Moreover, traditions like basket weaving, rice cultivation, and storytelling reflect a cultural continuity between past and present generations. Documentaries, films, and literary works have sought to shed light on the history, customs, and struggles of the Gullah Geechee people, highlighting their resilience in preserving African roots amidst the challenges of modernization and gentrification. One example of the existence of the Gullah Geechee in popular media is the show Gullah Gullah Island, which was a children's television series that aired on Nickelodeon from 1994 to 1998. Set on a fictional island inspired by the Gullah culture of the southeastern United States, the show celebrated diversity, family, and community through music, dance, and storytelling. Led by hosts Ron and Natalie Daisy, the show featured colorful characters including Binya Binya Pollywog and incorporated elements of Gullah language and traditions into its episodes. Gullah Gullah Island provided a culturally enriching and inclusive viewing experience for children, promoting understanding and appreciation of Gullah culture and heritage from a young age. Another prominent example is the movie Daughters of the Dust. This groundbreaking film, directed by Julia Dash, was released in 1991. It is set in 1902 on the Sea Islands off the coast of South Carolina. The film portrays the lives of the Gullah Geechee people, who are descendants of enslaved Africans. Specifically, it focuses on the Peasant family. Through stunning cinematography and a nonlinear narrative, the film explores the themes of tradition, migration, and cultural identity within this community, specifically the complexities of family dynamics and the tensions between preserving ancestral customs and embracing modernity, specifically as this family encounters these tensions as they prepare to leave the island home for the mainland. Like the Gullah Geechee, another excellent example of this revival is the Creole culture that we find in the southern United States in places like Louisiana. Creole culture in Louisiana is a vibrant blend of African, French, Spanish, and Native influences. Its African roots trace back to the enslaved Africans that were brought to Louisiana during the colonial period. Despite the brutality of slavery that they encountered there, African traditions persevered, intertwining within European and Native American cultures to create a unique Creole identity. Creole culture has also contributed to events like Mardi Gras, where it's perhaps one of the most well-known cultural traditions of New Orleans, where we see vibrant parades, elaborate costumes, and lively music of jazz. And we see that a lot of this music reflects African rhythms as well as European melodies. Additionally, Creole cuisine that one might find in Mardi Gras, like gumbo and king cake, is another dimension of Mardi Gras that is influenced by African tradition, therefore symbolizing how Mardi Gras and the carnival season in New Orleans is a convergence of Creole culture that also highlights a lot of that African origins and roots. The final example I'll talk about is the Gee's Bend community. The Gee's Bend community is located in rural Alabama along the Alabama River and has deep roots in its African heritage. Originally settled by enslaved Africans in the early 19th century, Gee's Bend traces its origins to the plantation economy of the antebellum South. The community's residents, primarily descendants of enslaved people, brought with them traditions including quilting, basket weaving, and music, which have been passed down through several generations. These practices reflect West African textile traditions and demonstrate that the Gee's Bend community has preserved its African culture amidst challenges like slavery and then later on segregation. Today, Gee's Bend's quilts are celebrated as masterpieces of African American folk art. What is the value of learning about these communities? Well, the existence of these communities is a remarkable reminder that African traditions outlived the slave trade, the Middle Passage, and even slavery itself. All three of these communities and cultures still exist, and their descendants continue to practice African-influenced religious, artistic, and musical traditions. Even then, the presence of these communities alongside other cultures in the Americas, such as Native Americans, meant that their culture evolved over time and were made anew in the modern-day United States. As we will see in upcoming videos, this process of mixing, evolving, survival, rupture, and continuity occurred in African diaspora across the entire world. Thank you for joining us today for this presentation on A New Beginning, Early African Communities in the United States. On your screen, you will see a link to a Google form. The link is also available in the video description, and it will take you to a survey form where you can leave feedback about your experience with this video. Your feedback helps us plan for future events and to secure funding, so I really appreciate it if you can take a few minutes to fill it out. Once again, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again at our next presentation.